y'all for
Cheers. We'll go ahead and
cheers, y'all.
get it all started off.
All right, welcome to Tailgate Beers. Austin and I are still here in Nashville. We're having a great time, meeting a lot of great people, getting to go some of the writers' rounds and all that kind of stuff. But today, this afternoon, we have the pleasure to sit down with Mr. Payton Smith.
Like I knew you would. One look in your eyes and like I feel forever, and it feels so good. Like the way you look, I can never say never. I'm falling.
Payton, welcome.
Thanks, y'all. Appreciate y'all having me.
Thanks for joining us. Hey, we just met Payton last week. You opened up for Lily Rose and Cruisins in Peoria, and Austin and I both, as soon as you got done, and I think I had a chance to talk to you just for a split second after you came off the stage, and you were just electric. I mean,
thanks, man.
Did an acoustic set by himself up on the stage, but man, it felt like you had a full band just because of the energy that you brought. And
thank you.
Austin said, "Hey, we're going to talk to Payton while we're down in Nashville." So thanks for being here.
Yeah, no, thank y'all for having me. We've played this. That was the second time that we played Cruisins. But what I love is like, there's all of my buddies here, like whether it's Dylan or Connor Smith, they all talk about like going to Cruisins, going to Cruisins. Oh yeah, it's like, so seriously, like I love coming up there and playing, and that crowd and that room is just like, it's the energy levels on a whole. It's like on a whole another level. So I tried to kind of tap into it as best as I could acoustic, so it felt good.
Well, there's people that play that room so well, and there are people that they struggle in there, especially acoustic wise, because people are waiting for Lily. They're who's this person, and there are people that get up there and don't necessarily always bring that energy, and you do it once, and then you do it a second time, and then you come back and you do your own headline at some point and gain 50 fans and 100 fans. Yeah. I don't remember who did you play with the first time?
First time we came through, oh gosh, I think we came through the first time in April. It was just us headlining. So it was me and our band. We came through in April, I believe, and it was the first time we had played.
Okay. I was thinking it was with somebody, but I couldn't remember.
Yeah. I think that was it. Yeah.
Because I didn't make that show. So that was the first time I got to watch you play.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It was a lot of that. I mean, yeah. Also, Lily's show is just, I mean, her fans are like they're so much fun. They're so passionate.
So loyal.
So I was very like, I'm not nervous going into it, but I was like they're all there for Lily, right? So they're like Lily's fans. And so going into it, I felt like pretty nervous because I was like, all right, it's the challenge to like, I don't know, man. It's always fun to kind of picture like, sometimes the audience going like, it's fun to try to win them over because, it's like the reluctant boyfriends that are getting drug along or whatever, like, and they're kind of like, all right, why should I care? Like, what do you do? And I don't know, that's fun to sometimes like, I like the challenge of that, to kind of win the crowd over sometimes.
People can be super intimidated by that, or they can embrace it and watch somebody go from, arms crossed, come on, whatever, what time, to okay, this guy's got a little something. Yeah. It's always a good feeling.
And you were with her for the weekend, roughly, weren't you?
With her for the weekend.
Chicago and
yep, we sure were. Yeah, we're out with her again in I think the first weekend of November. So we have a few more shows to play together.
That's awesome. It's awesome. What else you have on the horizon? What else is Payton up to?
Personally, we're welcoming our first baby girl in February. We're so excited and nervous, every emotion in the world. So we're getting ready for that. And then got a lot of music kind of in the can, ready to go. Putting out a song in November called Camouflage Town that I'm super excited about. And then playing a good bit of shows throughout the rest of the year, settling down in December, trying to get out in the deer stand as much as possible. So, yeah, man, just trying to finish out the year strong and then get into January and play a few more shows and then figure out how to be a dad in February. So
we'll have to make sure we get some swag, some tailgate beer swag over that are
some
onesies. That's right.
Right. We both have daughters. I mean, I have a boy and a girl, and my daughter's a February February baby, and
Okay.
dude, there's nothing better.
Dude.
Believe it or not, I know I look like I'm 25, but I'm actually a grandpa.
Yeah, it's no joke.
My oldest daughter is married and
Yeah.
has a baby. So yeah, I
Yeah.
just became a grandpa about 10 months
Wow,
ago.
man. Dude, congrats.
Thank
That's
you.
so awesome, man.
It's great because they're the ones that you can spoil, spend time with,
Yeah.
give them everything they want, and then you can send them back to
Oh, yeah.
to mom.
Yeah, I grew up in like a house full of all boys. So like I was like one of four brothers. So I was the oldest of four. So my mom didn't have any. There was no girls. Like even like most of my cousins, they were all boys. So like my wife, same way. Like she had a brother. So like this is all brand new. My parents don't know anything about having a little girl. So I'm excited to see how my dad takes on having like the first girl of the Smith family. You know,
It flies by.
Dude, yeah. As soon as I found out, and my wife has helped me a lot with this, but like as soon as I found out we were having a girl, I like skipped 20 years. You know? Like I like skipped the first 20 years, and I'm like, you mean I'm gonna have to like walk her down the aisle, like all this? And she was like, we got a little while before that, you know? So
Yeah, it's crazy. It's good, man. It'll be a fun ride for you. So you big deer hunter though? Big any other hunting or
Man,
mainly just deer?
I grew up duck hunting in South Louisiana. So I grew up in a little town like hour south of New Orleans, and down there like it was all about duck hunting. So that's like my first love. We had like a deer camp in Mississippi that we would go to, but yeah, my first love is like duck hunting. If I can get in the duck blind, I'm all about it.
Hey, Mississippi deer got to be like little puppy dogs. Really.
Yeah, there ain't nothing to write home about in Mississippi, you know. Like,
hey, look, Mom, I killed a deer.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like, well, this is the other funny thing about like hunting in Mississippi is, you get a ton of people that come from Louisiana that go hunt Mississippi because they have deer camps and all this, and so nobody in Louisiana is really taught to like let deer walk. You know, like if you want to get some deer on your property that are decent size, you gotta let them walk. And I guess I guess nobody in Louisiana was taught that. no offense to anybody in Louisiana that hunts deer, but like it took for us forever to try to grow deer because everybody around us that had camps in Mississippi would just like, shoot deer that like were 2 years old, shoot bucks that were 2 years old, so we could never like get bigger deer on our property. So it was it's pretty interesting. Now our property's kind of gotten to a place where like we got a few bigger deer. So
there's some big ones. There's some big deer up in Illinois.
Yeah.
I started off hunting deer, and then I at a mid-20s I got invited to go goose and duck hunting. Fuck, sitting in a stand waiting on a deer. I'm sitting here grilling, drinking,
eating sausage.
Bullshit. Oh shit, here they come. Hold on. I'm like, instead I'm just sitting up in the stand hunting deer. And then at the end of the day, I'm even like, even if I shoot a fucking deer right now, I don't even want to fuck with it right now.
Yeah,
what
exactly.
am I even doing up here?
No, that's true.
Whereas ducks, it's like, all right, got them clean, breasted, all done. I'm like, it's a chore to handle a deer. So
Absolutely,
I just got away from it and you got to having the right land, and if I had access to great hunting land, I would be hunting deer
for sure.
It's the same exact thing. Yeah, I mean, it's easier for us or for me anyway to go deer hunting or go duck hunting.
Yeah,
waterfowl, just because it's easier to get access to somewhere where all the land is locked up there. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Where did you go duck hunting and goose hunting for the first time?
So the flyway used to be in Fulton County for goose and duck. It was in Canton, Illinois. So where Cruisins was, if you drove west, essentially, I'm pretty sure you'd hit Canton about 30 minutes from there.
Okay.
And there was a big power lake that would bring a lot of them in. And honestly, just over time, the flyways changed so much. For us, we're only 2.5 hours north or south of Chicago. And believe it or not, I have this theory that Chicago, the buildings and all the lakes that they put up there, all those corporate buildings have water irrigation, the bubblers essentially. And I do really think it's changed the whole entire flyway, because you're going up in February and the fields are covered, with geese
Yeah.
and ducks and all that stuff. So for me, it's like a 50-minute drive out there, and it just wasn't really worth it anymore.
Mhm.
And then I had an opportunity to hunt like 15, 20 minutes from my house. And even by where we're at and where you were raised, born and raised in Henry, I mean, that is some premium for years. Talking, hunting clubs, you got to pay 40 grand, to hunt.
Top
and
of the
then
notch. Yeah.
all that stuff, big CEOs,
Yep.
all that stuff. A lot of those clubs have changed a lot.
Yeah.
But it's definitely still premium.
Yeah.
It's a big waterfowl area right in there. We've got Illinois River that goes through that. They come off the Mississippi, a few hours
Yeah.
away and fly down through there. But my school mascot was even a mallard.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Come on.
I'm a mallard.
We're
Fierce.
going back to your kid too. Something that's fun as hell is that I love about duck hunting is my boy's obsessed with it.
Yes.
And it's so much fun to do with them. I mean, I took him out his first hunt, he was probably 5, and I'm talking doesn't get cold, I have to drag him out, to go.
Yeah.
He could hunt all day.
Yeah.
And just watching him as he got older, I mean, picking up a goose that's bigger than his body
And bring it.
bringing
Oh,
it back.
dude, yeah.
My daughter went out for the first time, and her feet started getting a little cold. So I'm like, hey, go pick up some decoys and start bringing them in.
Yeah. Yeah.
And as she's doing it, 20 geese are locked up,
Coming
floating in. And
Oh,
I'm like, Audrey, lay down. Audrey is face down like this. And I'm like, I actually thought for a second they were going to land on like right where she's
Right where
at.
she was.
Like,
Yeah.
naturally, I mean, I'm not gonna shoot over
Yeah,
her.
yeah.
So I'm like, fuck. Watching her, and they actually swooped around and they came in towards the other side, and we're gonna still land kind of back there. It's killed out right
Wow.
there.
Oh, dude, I love
While
it.
she's laying in the middle of the
Well,
decoy
yeah.
in a purple coat.
I love it.
Now,
Yeah.
Will your wife allow you to take your daughter out to a duck blind, teach her doing some duck hunting? Stuff like
I
that?
hope so. Yeah, I think so. I mean, she's already kind of like excited, to like introduce her to dance. I think that was the other thing. Like we were just talking about that. We were like, we'll like put a bunch of things like in front of her that she loves. Like, I mean, putting the guitar in her room. Maybe she might, when she gets older, she might want to pick up guitar. Putting her in dance, she might want to, dance. Or she might love duck hunting, So like she might love all of it too. So
And it's the craziest thing that you can put all this stuff in front of them. And I was a big basketball player. I love music, all this stuff. My son took guitar lessons via Zoom from actually Sean Stemley's guitar player at the time.
oh yeah,
I'm trying to think of his name. I'm drawing a blank. I'm sorry. Not that he'll even see this shit. But the thing is my boy just didn't want to do it. He wanted the idea, but he didn't want to put effort into it.
yeah.
But duck hunting, he can tell you every duck. He
Fell in
can
love
do call. He's got calls.
Oh yeah,
He's obsessed with every
Yep.
part of it. So, and he doesn't like basketball. He doesn't even want to do basketball.
yeah.
So you can sit there and wish them to do all sorts
Yeah,
of stuff. But
totally. So he's all in on duck hunting right now. He's got his calls, and
he lives for it. So.
does he go around blowing the calls around the house and like kind of like practicing?
No, he hasn't even messed with the calls in a while. My goal was always, in my perfect world, I wanted to get him to call before he ever could shoot a gun.
Mm-hmm.
And I always had the dream of getting another dog and having him work training the
Yeah.
dog.
Yep.
So he's got the calling down. He's got his little buddy. And then I was going to do the same thing that an older buddy of mine that I started hunting with. He had to go like an entire season with an empty gun and would have to go through all the motions, pull up on ducks,
Mm-hmm.
bang, bang, but no bullet. And then finally one day his dad's like, all right, buddy, here you go.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I've like always wanted to do that shit. So
Wow.
and he's got great eyes. I mean, I have good
Yeah.
eyesight too, but I mean, that kid can see a duck's ass 2 miles
Yeah.
that way.
Wow,
Crazy.
man. Oh, I
Wouldn't
love
be
it.
flying the other way if you saw the ducks ask.
Possibly.
Possibly, yeah.
Possibly, but
Just curious.
I'm not sure. I couldn't see it.
So I want to get into some of your music stuff.
Yeah,
You
man.
talked a little bit about your family and upbringing and whatnot. When did you decide music was for you and
Yeah.
what age and all that?
Man, dude, for as long as like I can remember, like I was just obsessed with music from like I mean, literally as long as I can remember. Like the first album I remember hearing was Pure Country, George Strait, which was actually the soundtrack. Pure Country was like a movie, George Strait. It's a great movie. So it was that, and then my dad had Def Leppard Hysteria in his truck all the time. And so those are like the first two records I remember hearing as like a little kid and going like, this is so sick. Like, and just falling in love with it. Even like, I don't remember this, but my parents said that like that there was like I would go to my grandparents' house and they would always have gospel music playing, so I became obsessed with like Gaither Vocal Band, like at like 2 or 3 years old, and just would ask for like VHS tapes of like the Gaither Vocal Band at like 3. So I don't remember that, but that's what my parents say. And so just for the longest time, like just knew that like I wanted to play music. That's all I ever wanted to do. So really kind of where it all like came together was there was the first time I heard Keith Urban was like watching. It was I remember thinking like it was like watching my mom's music and my dad's music like come together. I guess in the first way, and and I was like, oh, that's kind of like what mom listens to, but that's also like what dad listens to, and that's what Keith was doing at the time, was that sort of country rock hybrid thing. And so as soon as I saw like him playing guitar, I was like, that looks like a lot of fun. I wanted whatever that is, that feeling that I'm getting right now that he's like giving me, I want to do that. So there was like no other just plan. I always wanted to play music, like since I was such a young kid. So yeah,
always guitar, never, or what other instruments do you play?
I feel like I'm a guitar player on like I'm a guitar player that can hack away at some other things. I'm not very good at drums, but I can get by on piano. Not very good at it, but like a guitar player.
To write or to come up with an idea and concept and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I always feel like, especially like when it comes to like writing, like I feel like I kind of lean on the guitar first, but like especially when it comes to writing here in Nashville, everybody's kind of got their own way of writing, but I feel like I like always kind of pick up the guitar, find a riff, and then figure out, okay, what does that riff feel like? What does that sound like? So that's kind of like the foundation of like kind of where I write from, you know.
So talking about writing, we know that you just left a writing session just to come and hang out with us this afternoon. From a fan perspective, I mean, how does that work? How do you get connected with other writers in Nashville or other places? Just to kind of sit down and you just kind of work through stuff, come up with different ideas.
Yeah, man, there's like, I always feel like I'm like trying to listen to different conversations going on, being like just aware of conversations, what people are saying, because somebody might say have something in a sentence that sounds like a song. I'm like, oh, that's kind of a cool hook. And I'll write it in my phone, or a melody might pop in my head and I'll pull out my phone in the middle of a conversation and start like humming a melody. So it kind of comes from like all different places. And so, I like try to capture as much of that as I can and bring it into somebody I really trust co-writing with here in Nashville, because co-writing is such a big thing here in Nashville. I mean, I did a lot of writing like by myself when I first started coming here, but it's nice to be able to bounce stuff back and forth off of each other, like in the writer's room, you know, especially with somebody that's been doing it longer than I have, or, you know, longer than somebody has, when you have like a veteran kind of in the room, you know, with words.
Who have you wrote with that you're just like, I can't believe I'm sitting here right now writing with? Have you had that experience?
Yeah, man. Several times. Like, I still feel it like even today, but like when I first started coming to Nashville, I was 15 and when I started writing here. But I was always the biggest Eric Church fan, and one of his guys, Casey Beathard, who like wrote Homeboy, I mean, just all these church songs that I grew up loving, and always I kind of held as like, all right, that's the bar right there, you know, and that was always my favorite kind of writing style, you know. And but Casey wrote a lot of those, and so the first time I wrote with Casey was just like, was very surreal. I was also young, and I don't think I should have been in the room at all. I couldn't really pitch in. I'm sure he might have been thinking like, "What the hell is a 16-year-old going to do? What does he have to say?" And
how did you get in the room then? I mean,
yeah,
16 years old. How
They
did
just
you
thought
make
you were
that
somebody's.
connection?
Just thought you were somebody's kid.
yeah. I'm gonna pull a favor out, I guess, for somebody. Yeah, man, it's kind of a crazy story. We came up here when I was 14 years old. Me and my dad and my brothers, we were supposed to go on a dove hunting trip, in Brenham, Texas, and it was going to be pretty rowdy for a bunch of kids being there, and so my dad was like, "Hey, this might not be the one to go to. Let's go to Nashville. Peyton's been wanting to go to Nashville, and we can take a family trip there." So we come up here, and in my head, I'm thinking like, "Oh, we're going to Nashville. I've been writing these songs. I'm gonna play some open mic nights." Like, I was really thinking like, man, this could change, this could change my life, like at 14. And so we get up here and we're staying at the Hilton downtown. And wherever we were, I always just like loved playing guitar, and I loved playing for people. So I like took my guitar down to the lobby and started playing, and got a good little crowd down there. And then my parents came down, and they were talking to the concierge, and they were like, "Hey, is this okay? Like, we don't want him to keep carrying on, And the concierge was like, "No." He was like, "This is great." He was like, "Do you realize like he's got something that's really cool?" And my parents were like, "We don't know. We just know he loves it, like." And that's really what they were, it's what they were all about. They were like, as long as their kids love something, they were like, we're going to support it. Like, that's all that mattered. So the concierge was like, well, let me make some phone calls. And
Okay.
so the next day we had a couple meetings set up with a guy named Buddy Cannon, who produces all the Kenny Chesney stuff. And then we had another meeting that day with Brian Wright at Universal Music. And then we had another one with Mark Wright at Show Dog. So we had 3 meetings the next day. And
all from that
all from that phone call that the concierge made, that was like, "Hey, I really think that this is something special." And I think my parents were very much in shock by all this, because they're like, "We did not think this was," we're like, none of us, I don't think you can dream about that kind of stuff, but it doesn't ever seem like it could be a reality, like that could happen, in a day. But Buddy Cannon, the producer, ended up taking me kind of under his wing and going like, "Hey, if you guys will drive up every month, I'll set up rights for Peyton, and I'll help him out." That's what he was kind of telling my parents. I'll kind of just guide him and take him under my wing. And so my parents were like, "All right, we'll try it." So they started driving up here every month. I would write here for a week, and that's kind of how it all began. So like for the first year, my parents would kind of come up and spend a week here. I would learn how to write with people, and then a week would turn into 2 weeks, and then eventually we ended up staying here for a month. And then my parents moved here in 2016. Okay. So
is there like a process of? So you said they start bringing you up.
Yeah.
Do they just kind of throw you out there to do rights, or is there a process where you go through a little bit of coaching and training or anything like that, or how's that work? I actually have no idea.
Man, yeah, that's a good question. I feel like there was, I was set up with like, I think Buddy, who kind of took me under his wing, was very like, he thought about it very much. He was like, "I don't want you writing with everybody in the world." He was like, "There's like 3 or 4 people that can really help you and find what you do, find something special that you do as far as a lyricist goes. And you can grow from that." So I learned from, I kind of wrote with the same 3 or 4 people for like a year, and learned how to be a better lyricist, learn how to be a better melody writer. Like, I just learned a lot of people. That's what amazes me about the Nashville songwriting community, is they are always willing to help whoever is up next. Like, there is no like, "Oh, well, he's at this level, so We're not gonna
Right.
take a chance.
I look at it from like a manufacturer. So I come from manufacturing, and we talk about it a lot. But the when you're a young person in a factory somewhere, and then you've got this union, senior guy who's been there for 40 years, and you're a young kid.
Yep.
How you do that handoff, and in that industry, a lot of people keep it very, close to their chest. I learned all this, and then you get another guy.
Yeah.
That's like, dude, no, I'll help you with whatever you need. Let me show you. Hey, you want to use my stuff?
Totally.
But it's different because you show up in the room and the thing I've never understood, or at least I've heard some people talk where, hey, if there's 3 of us sitting right here, and if I'm here, I'm getting credit on this song.
Yeah.
But sometimes like, wait a minute, this kid's sitting here and he wrote one sentence and I've pretty much put the rest of it together. Yeah. Is there like an agreement of, hey man, I didn't really do shit on this, or is it nope? Everybody gets credit.
Everybody gets credit. At least here in Nashville, I think like in LA, like I think it's I've heard, I don't know this like for a fact, but I've heard like from a couple people they've said that like lawyers will sit in on some of those LA rights and kind of like base the percentage on who gets what percentage by like who pours in the most.
Really?
And that's wild to me because Nashville's just not like that, because some artists might not be the best writer, but they know what they will and won't say, right? So even if somebody's throwing out a bunch of lines, they might know themselves to go like, I don't know if I would say that. And so sometimes it can help the writer understand like where to go for the artist's career, what they're going for.
Yeah.
The whole industry is fascinating to me, and like I said, I'm kind of coming from a fan perspective and just learning. Went to my first writers round to watch on Sunday when we got into town, and,
man,
and it was just fun to watch. And then we talk about writing, and you're talking about sharing some of your creative ideas, but helping each other out and being that support system. Matt and Nikki T from Raised Rowdy, who were earlier, they were talking about the same thing, just about how it's a big community and everybody is very hopeful for everyone. You rise, I rise. We'll help each other out.
Absolutely.
Is there anyone, and change the subject a little bit, is there anyone that at a younger age you said, hey, I want my stage presence, or I want to do this kind of stuff on stage? Because like I said, your presence, you're just engaging, your personality, you're joking, you're having fun. I remember, from cruising, you're like starting a few songs. I said, oh no, I'm just kidding. That kind of stuff, playing around with the crowd. Is there somebody that you look up to from a stage presence side that got you that, or is that just your natural personality?
Man, I think that it's a little bit of both. Like it's grown over the years, I genuinely like love entertaining so much. I love like connecting with the audience, and so I think it's been a learning process, to get on stage, and I think maybe a little bit of that entertaining thing's always like been like inside of me, but it's always growing, right? But I like to have fun with the crowd, and so I think watching Keith for a lot of those years, he was such a great entertainer, and it came off very effortlessly. Watching guys like Chesney, same thing. Like it just came off very effortlessly, and just a lot of genuine in what they were doing, what they were saying, and so, I feel like that's always kind of my goal, is to like try to entertain the best I can, to get everybody having a good time and just be authentically just genuine, because I think that the crowd can kind of read into when you're taking yourself like very seriously on stage, which I've definitely like made that mistake plenty of times before, and that's something that I've like grown to, or I'm still growing, and I feel like, but to just be like genuinely just have fun, because if I'm having fun,
people can sense that.
Then the crowd's gonna sense it, and then it's almost like the pressure gets taken off. Like it's whether it's 5 people or 500 people. If I'm having a good time, if it's just me, or if it's with the band, if we're having fun, then it's gonna rub off on those 5 people or 500 people. So I think it's just, I don't know, man. I think it genuinely just comes down to just loving it like that much,
Is it like a on and off type of switch? You're walking up on stage and you almost black out. Cliffy D was here
Yeah.
yesterday and was talking about
Yeah.
That's after the show.
that one of the times or whatnot. He like walked off and he's like, "What just happened?" And people were
Yeah.
saying that was your best show ever. He's like, "I don't even remember being up there," kind of thing.
Dude, that's great. It is. I always feel like I'm like going on stage, going like, all right, man, I'm gonna live in the moment. Like on stage, I'm gonna soak it all in. And I still feel like sometimes there's glimpses of it where like I'll remember stuff, but sometimes there'll be nights where I don't remember. I don't really remember a whole lot of it.
Damn.
But because it is kind of like a switch.
Yeah.
It really is. Like
It's like a zone or something.
yeah, yeah.
You got to put the show on now.
Me and the band, we've started calling nights where it just like time sounds so like cliche and kind of like, otherworldly, I guess. But like we started calling some of those nights where like time stops. We're all in the same moment and the energy's up, and we started calling them floaters. We started calling those nights floaters because that's what it feels like. It just feels like there's no time passing. It's just we're just floating on air, It's a hell of a drug, dude. It really is.
What with your band and stuff? I mean, are these people you've just met through Nashville? Are they new? Are you still trying to work on putting that whole team together? Because I know there's a lot of people like, well, played for Lily for a while, played Payton.
Sure.
And now I've moved on to this.
Yeah,
and
man.
I'm sure even in your position, there's people that play for you, but they're like, hey, man, I got an offer to go play.
Absolutely.
Somebody
Yeah,
else.
absolutely. Yeah, I think that's happened over the last few years with me. I feel like this is the first time I've got an amazing guitar player that's playing with us right now, an amazing drummer, another great guitar player that tour manages for us as well. So I feel like this is the first time in probably all of my time being in Nashville that I've kind of had a band like really locked in, but we've also come up with a vision of like what we want to do, like what kind of show we want to build, what kind of audience we want to build together. So we've all kind of I guess built a vision for us as a band, like what we could make this thing be,
Is there something you can share as far as the upcoming year? I mean, that you're working on, or that you've got in the tank, or something that is pretty exciting you're pumped about, or
yeah, man, we've got a song dropping in November I'm super excited about. Then we have a collab dropping with somebody that I grew up absolutely loving in December. I can't say who it is yet.
So November and December, you got some big.
We got some really cool stuff happening, man. Yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff going on in November, December that
Male
I'm
or female?
super
Initials?
excited about.
Yeah.
It's a male. It's a male. It is a man.
What about like next year? I mean, are you already getting that booked up? Big events?
Yeah,
anything
man.
like that.
Trying.
Anybody you're touring with?
Yeah, man. I mean, I think we're kind of figuring out the spring a little bit. With our little girl arriving in February, we're kind of taking a month off to. I'm taking a month off to kind of figure out how to be, how to dad.
It's gonna take longer than a month.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's but it was funny because I told my wife, I was like, well, hey, what do you think about? Like, I'm gonna take some February and March off. She's like, no, she's like, I think you can go back on the road in March. She was like, I think we'll get it.
The crazy part, going back to even that you'll find is at that stage, there's really not a lot you can even. There's not a ton you can do because as a dad, you kind of feel like, well, shit, my wife, who I love, it's like, hey, hello, remember me? There's a phase, that you kind of like, what can I help with?
Yeah.
Especially if they're like, breastfeeding or something like that. You're like, well, I can change the diaper and put the kid to bed, but yeah, a routine and all that is something that dude, even you get locked into as a dad. Next thing you know, you're carrying that bag. You're like, dude, I got this on lockdown.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I can't wait, man. Like I'm so excited. It feels like every emotion all bundled into one. I'm so nervous. I'm so excited at the same time.
Oh, yeah. The second's the wild one because like you know, dude, you're gonna have 10,000 photos on your phone when your little girl's born. And then what's crazy is then you're gonna have a second kid, and one day you'll look and be like, I don't have hardly shit for photos of my second one because you're like old news. Like, dude, I've already seen all this shit.
Yeah.
But because one day my boy was bragging about how many photos, you know, of him as a newborn versus my daughter, and we even did like a search on the phone, and now it's like flipped because my daughter's more photogenic. So now my kid's like, dude, Dad, I need more photos of me. I'm like, you don't want any photos of me. She's always wanting photos. It's fun.
Do you think pineapple should be on pizza?
What?
I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, yeah.
It's a tough one.
I mean,
I'm spit my drink out.
you know, I love it. It was like the most seriously asked question too. Is what was great, dude. Like,
Oh my god. Well, I mean, do you? What is your
do I?
stance? What is your stance on that?
For any perspective,
Personally, I'm not gonna probably put pineapple on my pizza, but you know, you do you, boo. So
I personally don't either. I mean, I would eat it, you know, if that was what I had, but
Yeah.
it's not like I would order it that way.
I just don't. You see, like it's one of those things where I don't know. Like you got cheese and pepperoni and meat, and like you throw in a pineapple in there, and it's just so sweet. I like pineapple.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna eat it.
Lava hot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't
What's your favorite place to eat here?
know.
You have a favorite spot that you're just like, dude, I can never get enough of this.
Dude, Jack Brown's burger spot. It's like right off of Music Row, a place called Edge Hill, and it's a burger joint. It's just like kind of like it's smash burgers. It's incredible, and like it's Wagyu smash burgers basically.
Really?
But it's like $10-11. Go in there and like get a side of fries. Like it's incredible. Like it's so good. That's my favorite
Maximus
spot.
Corey has been our tour guide the last today, so I'll have to remember that one.
It's a
Take
good
us there
spot.
next time.
We stopped at, so full circle, when we started this, naturally you start the thing of, okay, do we have the handle, you know, Tailgate Beers? Yep, got it. What about the website? Shit, somebody's got tailgatebeers.com. So it's tailgate-beers. But as we're looking and doing our logo design and stuff, we see Tailgate Beer. Well, it's a brewery. So I totally forgot about where.
Yeah.
It's right here in Nashville. So it's like right
stumbled
over
over
here.
there.
Right there, yeah.
So we went there the first day, and I'm like, these guys got my fucking domain. But theirs is just Tailgate Beer, but it was kind of funny. So we rolled in there and had a beer, and we all ordered pizza, and I got that hot honey chicken mac.
Nashville hot. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the
Nashville
Nashville hot.
Holy shit, it was
Right.
hot.
Yeah.
Burnt,
I
like
bet.
it was so good though that I kept wanting to eat it, and then I'm like,
Yeah,
you guys got to
yeah.
try this. I don't know if I'm just being a pussy or what, but when I started eating it, it was like burning my mouth. It was
I had one slice, and I still don't have.
had pickles
regular,
on it.
and
It
Yeah.
was good.
There's a spot. My wife, she was born and raised here, so she like knows. I feel like she knows a lot more spots even than I do. But when it comes to like hot chicken, she loves this spot called Prince's. That's pretty good. There's like kind of a debate that kind of goes on, like where like the best hot chicken spot is, like in Nashville, because there's like there's Hattie B's, and then there's like a Slow Burn, or there's a couple different spots, but Prince's is like pretty hot. It's pretty good. I mean, it's spicy, but it's
That
good.
Nashville hot's different.
So your wife was from here? Did you meet
Yeah.
her? While
I
you
met her
were
here.
visiting?
Yeah. I met her here. We met when we were 15, and
Right in that hotel lobby.
right in that hotel lobby again. Yeah.
Right up front. You just seen it right up front.
She was the concierge.
Yeah. We got married in that hotel lobby, by God.
She was that front fan. She was the only person listening, actually, just standing right there. He's like, I'm going to marry you someday.
You're something special.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we met through like a songwriter friend of mine. We met through like kind of like going to high school. 'Cause I didn't go to high school here. I was homeschooled during that time because I was writing all the time on the road. So, but I went to her high school like Christmas choir thing and saw her, and I was like, damn, who that? So I was like, who's that? And so we kind of became friends, and then it was like just the elephant in the room. Like we knew we liked each other. She kind of asked, she was like, what kind of are we? And I was like, well, I'm just really enjoying being your friend right now. And that pissed her off big time. That did not go over very good. Yeah, because she was like, well, I thought that. Anyways, so we kind of spent high school, like being friends, but it was always kind of awkward. And then, she ended up graduating, and that was about the time that I had like signed my first publishing deal, my first record deal. So we had just kind of went separate ways, lost touch.
Well, yeah, you put her in the friend zone.
Yeah, I put her in friend zone, so rightfully so. Yeah,
This homeschool
kid. Yeah, exactly.
Hello.
Yeah, of course. I mean, yeah, so she went. I mean, she went to college here, and she went to a college here called Lipscomb, and I would always we ended up like dating other people and kind of found out what we like didn't want. It sounds so cliche to say, but I would have like dreams about her. And like I would have this dream where I was standing at the end of an aisle, and I'd see like this figure like walking towards me. It felt like, being at a wedding, but it was like the end of an aisle. I couldn't really tell. It was like, how dreams are, just kind of weird and can't really make all of it out. But at the end of the dream, like it would be her face that would pop into the frame, and then the dream would just end. So that had happened like a couple of times, and eventually one day I was like, you know what? I think I should call her. So
damn, that's crazy.
Yeah, it was wild. So
I
we
don't
ended
ever
up,
remember any of my dreams.
yeah.
Not that
I don't now either
That's
anymore.
crazy.
I haven't the last few days. I don't know if I even dreamed the last 2 days.
No, that doesn't help
in the
when you
2 hours of sleep I've gotten.
I think that the time that I do like kind of remember the dream more like is like if I have a melatonin or some kind of sleep, like it would be really weird dreams. But if I like take a melatonin out on the road, or I'm trying to like get some sleep,
Yeah.
I'll have some like weird dreams.
Save
It's
some of that
crazy.
melatonin for when your daughter gets a little bit older.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you just call her up out of the blue one day and be like, listen, I've been seeing your dream, or I've been seeing your face in a dream. I'd like to take you out on a date now. I think I fucked up years ago.
Yeah. We kind of talked kind of back and forth, and I just texted her, like she was in Costa Rica at the time, so I was like, hey, I was just checking in. So kind of left it at that, and then she came back to town, and we had kind of texted a little bit more, and I think she had lost her wallet on campus, and she had posted on Instagram. She was like, hey, if somebody finds my wallet, I'll take them to coffee. And so I was like,
Kid
That's
purposely
not-
gone and
yeah.
stolen the wallet. I found it.
yeah, I found it. Yeah. So I
on
like
a scooter and
I slid up on her on her DM, and I said, hey, I was like, even if I don't find your wallet, can I take you to coffee? I owe you one. And so she was like 1,000%. And so we went and got coffee, and it kind of it really feels like, we had coffee and then had a couple other dates and just reconnected, and it was like I would never look back, and that was 2020. So yeah, beginning of 2020. So
COVID and everything else is
yeah,
happening.
COVID and everything else was happening. Yeah, it was crazy.
I do try to ask a question every single time, and so I'll go ahead and present it to you. So you're on a plane, you got a parachute, plane's going down, and you have access to every album ever made. Okay. What 5 are you taking with you on this island?
Oh, dude, I love this question. This is great. All right, first off, I'm gonna go with Chris Stapleton, Traveler, just cause I just think you want that voice to comfort you on an island,
Yeah.
Probably. I'm gonna go Chief, Eric Church.
Mm-hmm.
It's just an absolutely ridiculous record. It gets better with time, I feel like. Third, George Strait, Greatest Hits, because I just think the songs are incredible.
I mean, I don't even know that the greatest hits is like 60 songs.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm like, yeah, maybe I should. Yeah. So he'd like get the box set, with like.
No, any greatest hits, if it's out there on like a platform and in a disc form, it's still an album.
It's still an album. I would go with that, just because it also reminds me of my mom, like my childhood. Fourth would probably be Keith Urban, Be Here, changed my life, so good. And fifth would probably be The Mockingbird and the Crow, Hardy.
All right,
So just because like that record, again, it's one of those records just gets better with
Judging
time.
by that one, you pretty much only listen to country.
I do. I mean, yeah. I try to like listen to a ton of stuff, but country is like the main music that I'm always listening to. I'll throw on some Nickelback and Waka Flocka every now and then.
A guy posed that question to me years ago, and I just have always loved it because I think it just says a lot about people and where you're at, and especially you got to be a music lover too. And I think you can get that from how people answer the question. But also just shows there's certain albums in your life that you remember the year, you remember where you were at, chapters of your life.
Yeah, man.
And ones that I haven't listened to some of my top 5 in years, and all of a sudden it's always going to be there though, and it's just as good as the day it came out. So because there's stuff you're listening to now that I'll never listen to 2 years from now.
Dude, one of my favorite lines in a song ever is out of Eric Church's song Springsteen. Funny how a melody sounds like a memory. I'm like, dude, isn't that what this all is like a song like we hear? It had a certain mark at a certain time in our life that takes us right back when we hear it, and we're connected to it forever.
You don't get chills listening to that live version of that song.
Oh, dude.
That live version is so good. And when we had Eric Church at the festival, and all I wanted, I only heard a couple songs, but the one song that I had to hear was Springsteen live, because it's so good on that live deal, and what he did, doing live recordings at every single venue. If you've ever gone through all those CDs, that's wild. I saw. When I was 20, I saw Eric play a venue the size of Cruisin's.
Yeah.
Beer on the stage,
man.
Just right there.
Yep.
He was with Jonathan Singleton in the Grove.
Yeah. Singleton, come on.
Yeah.
I love that.
And then he dropped Carolina right after that album. And then to have him on the festival, it was like,
dude, I bet that was just
crazy.
surreal, man.
Such a crazy feeling.
Yeah. I bet, man.
But it's tough because you also get used to an album or a person where that's what you remember. Like, no offense to him. Like, there's a couple of those albums, like The Soul and Heart. You know what they are?
Yeah.
I don't know. Not really for me.
Yeah.
But that's no different than any other artist, because for me, it's Mr. Misunderstood. It's Carolina. It's his original one, which was
Sinners Like Me.
I mean, I was 17 when that Sinners Like Me came out. I mean, dude, I think I started chewing just because to have a skull can ring in my jean, like off of that album, And
What's your favorite song? I mean, that's a hard question, but what's your favorite song off that record?
Off of that record?
Yeah, off of Sinners Like Me.
It's the Lightning.
Yeah.
Do you know the one I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Now
I'm flying.
That.
Yeah. So
I mean, that's an emotional song. I mean, this guy's getting ready to get the death penalty.
Yeah, and that's a solo right. That's just church.
Yeah.
Just him, that's a 100%er.
Lightning. I mean, that song is so good.
Yeah.
Can't Take It With You.
It's a good one.
Pledge Allegiance to the Hag, jam.
So good.
2 Pink Lines, finding out, pregnant.
Yeah.
Living Part of Life is good. I think that one's the one where he talks about going fishing.
Yep.
That's also a jam.
There's not really a skip on that record, man. Like, you could just turn. Oh, dude.
I mean, this is just raw. I forget how good the whole thing is.
It's like they just set up a mic in the room with the band, and they just hit record, and they just started playing. Like, it's great, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I forgot. I actually sitting here watching this. How good it is. That was 2006, though, man.
Wow,
and
man.
for me, being just graduating high school or a senior, that was a great album.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Other than Payton Smith, obviously, who else do you see coming up that's going to be the next biggest thing?
Man, I
Who should
love.
you be listening to.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's a bunch of buddies like here in town. I love so much like that are just crushing it, and they're just even better dudes. So you want to root for them even more. Like Dylan Marlowe, I think is absolutely crushing it right now. Graham Barm, I mean Graham's from Louisiana, so we have a whole
Opry tonight.
Opry tonight. Yeah, shout out Graham. Opry, it's amazing. Graham's crushing it. Super proud of him. I feel like right now there's a lot of talent. I feel like in country music. I don't know if I would say like more than ever, but there is a lot of people in country music right now that are crushing it. Lacey K. Booth, Steven Wilson Jr.
Oh, yeah.
Like I'm big fans of like people doing some different kind of records and commercial records. Like I love both.
Have you ever heard of Luke Borchelt?
No.
It's as if Uncle Cracker and
I'm gonna go save it right
who'd
now,
I say?
there.
Uncle Cracker and Darius Rucker had a baby.
Okay.
I've never met the dude, but a friend of mine turned me on to him, and listen to this. And we'll play this on the podcast.
Sucking on a Nicorette, wanting for a cigarette. Little miracle, I ain't did it yet. Thinking all things that you'd expect for your respect. It's like the door is open, but I can't go yet. It's like my friend that couldn't drive, cause she was so afraid that she'd get in a wreck. And I keep getting this look from the dog. Keep him fed, I ain't sure what's wrong. Unless he knows you're gone. And now there's something wrong with the truck. She running, but she won't get up. Burning no oil, running on up.
The song just slowly keeps picking up
Now there's
pace throughout the
something
song.
wrong
Yeah.
with the boat. 'Cause all she wanna do is float. And she won't get up on plane. And she sinks a little with every rain.
So even as the song goes on,
Picks up. What a cool voice, dude. I'm glad y'all turned me on to that, dude. I'm gonna go crank that in my truck.
absolutely,
I'm
dude,
excited.
we appreciate you being on
Dude,
here
thank
and taking
y'all.
the time. I mean,
Seriously, thank y'all for having me, man.
so, cheers.
Visiting us.
Cheers, y'all. Y'all are the best.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Can't wait to see you again.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
This one's for the